Hey guys, hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening, I'm glad you're here. I want to thank all the channel members for your support. I appreciate you more than you know. And for those of you who are just stopping by, please hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon next to it. Bell notification icon will let YouTube know you're not a bot, that you're a human interested in EDC content, notify you when I release new videos, and it'll of course help me out by letting my videos hopefully be seen by more people. I'd really appreciate it, guys. Sorry to talk about it, but I just want to share that with you. Today I'm going to give my long-term reviews slash overviews on this Divo Knives Mash version 2. The Mash version 2, when I first unboxed it and gave my first impressions, had totally kind of overwhelmed me in how good it was for what I paid for it. And after experiencing this knife and carrying it for about 3 weeks, I can only say that my first impressions have been proven to be true, right? It is a fantastic knife. This knife is titanium. The handle's titanium. It's got a steel liner lock. It is a liner lock, locks up very well. Drop shutty. It has a 14C 28N blade that's deep hollow grind, very substantial blade stock, but yet terminates down to a very thin hollow and is very slicey. Locks up like a bank vault, has a very substantial stop pin there, and the liner lock and blade geometry where that tang intersects the liner lock are done fantastically well. You've also got this thought out handle that's very neutral, and then it has this trigger area that's really, to me, a finger choil. It makes the knife very comfortable in almost any type of grip. It doesn't matter how you're gripping this knife. It's going to hold well. It's going to cut well. It's going to do detail cuts well. It's going to get into packages well. You name it, I think this knife's up for it. And again, the solidness of the construction, I can't state it enough. For 2 pieces of titanium, a real nice back spacer, 2 body screws, and a pivot screw, this knife is extremely simple and extremely strong. Let me break out my last coupon from my coupon book and show you guys that this came with a very sharp factory edge. Just a joy to cut with. Works well with cardboard, works well with wood. It's a great whittling knife, just a great EDC knife. It's thin. It utilizes what I think is an ingenious clip, this wire clip that's reversible, that can easily be replaced with a Lynch solid clip if you don't like wire clips. I personally do. I think they go in and out of pocket very easily. I love the satin grind on this particular blade. I think it looks very sexy. I think it looks and feels like a very well thought out EDC knife. It doesn't have a traditional flipper, and it doesn't have a front flipper, but it has a very easy to use thumb flicker or reverse finger flick. The detent is very dialed in as I fail it, very stiff in a good way, which means when the detent releases, it basically jumps out into open. And just, guys, from a way it feels, way it's built, way it cuts, it's a winner. It's just, that's really all I can say about it. And if you watch other reviews and have experienced one yourself, I think you'll agree. Let's do a couple of quick size comparisons and see how big this Mash V2 comes in. Then we'll get some measurements. Of course, it's going to be smaller than the Cold Steel 4MAX. And of course, it's going to be larger than the Civivi Baby Banter. But that gives you kind of some extremes. Looking at that knife, I'm guessing it's going to be very similar, if not a little bit smaller than the Benchmade Bug Out. maybe 1/8 of an inch smaller than the bug out, which means it will be considerably smaller than the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So with it being very close to the size of the bug out, let's break out Javon's promotional tape measure that cost him nothing except for the sticker that he stuck on it. This knife comes in at 7.5 inches. The blade comes in at 3.25. The handle comes in at 4.25. The handle that I consider the usable handle to the front choil is 3.75. That's the dimension from right here to right here. That's 3.75. And let's get out GP's calipers. .1205 is the blade stock up at the tip. 0.06 on this hollow grind behind the edge. 0.0180, and the handle thickness at its thickest point is 0.475. But these handles are scalloped and contoured. So guys, again, it's a very thin, not as thin as the bug out, but not much thicker. So it rides in the pocket very nicely, very well. I think from an overall usability standpoint, it's more functional than a bug out for me, for what I cut. .75 ounces. It might not come in at 1 ounce an inch, but to me it does not seem too heavy. To me, one of the things that surprised me about this knife that was OEM by Kubey is I've got several Kubey knives, several premium Kubey knives, but this knife in my hand feels more solid. It feels like it has more heft, even though there's contoured milling inside those titanium scales. It just feels like a much more expensive knife. This knife cost me right at around $130 before I put in my Lefty 10 discount. Saved 10% off that, which I think is another 13 bucks. This knife is every bit worth $200 in my opinion. If somebody handed me this knife and said, John, what do you think this knife is worth? I would probably say between $190 and $250. None of those would surprise me because it is that good. It feels like $1 million. It has replaced the Nomad as my #1 value or mid-range knife in my collection. I mean, it's that good, guys. I love this knife. I can highly recommend this knife. I would urge any of you guys that might be on the fence about this knife, if it becomes available again, which it will, in either additional renditions, or there may be 1 or 2 to be had at Blade Show. If you're going to Blade Show, grab this knife. Take a look at it, handle it, go by the booth, see what you think. I think everybody should have one in their hand before they make a judgment. I think it's been done fantastically well. And again, guys, I'd recommend it to my mom, so I definitely recommend it to you guys. If you would, before we go, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon, and please look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Please look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love you all. Peace.